Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we'll start our ninth lecture, or ninth week. And in this week we will start with our State Bank of Pakistan. As we all know that State Bank of Pakistan is the central bank of Pakistan. And we have already discussed a different function which has to be performed by a central bank within its country, and the same functions are being provided by the State Bank of Pakistan. Not only they are providing different monetary services and note-issuing services, and also they are providing banker facility to the government as well as to the to different commercial banks. Plus they are also working in different areas in which they provide different training facilities to the bankers and other managerial function which are helpful in performing different banking activities. Not only that, they are also providing different research facilities for researcher and students, and the SBP website is a very helpful website which provide very important functions and very important data which will be very helpful, which is actually very helpful in doing research for student as well as any other type of activities. So we will start with the historical background of central bank. Like when Pakistan came into being, it was decided that for 1 year the Reserve Bank of India would be provide the central banking facility to Pakistan. But as we all know that there were lots of monetary issues, lot of transfer of balance problems, and the amount which has to be paid by the Indian government to Pakistan was also decreased, and all the losses were shifted to on Pakistan accounts. So it becomes very difficult for Pakistan to have a good and stable economic condition in the country. So in that case, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah recognized, and they actually decided with his cabinet and with this all the people who are working with him that they have to establish their own central bank before the date, or before the decided date. So after that, under Monetary System and Reserve Bank Order 1947, after the Reserve Bank of India has to perform all the central functions, central banking facilities till 30th September 1948. And it was also decided that Indian notes will remain legal tender in both Pakistan and India till 30th September in 1948. And Pakistan will issue coins after 30th September 1948, and coins issued by Indian government will remain legal tender after at least 1 year from the date of issue of coins by Pakistani government. So this monetary order was passed, and it was decided that all the banking facilities, central banking facilities would be provided by Reserve Bank of India. Then on 30th December 1947, the British government commission distributed the Bank of India's reserve between Pakistan and India, and almost 30% of the share was given to Pakistan and 70% for India. The losses which has occurred or incurred during the transition, that at that time when they are actually transferring funds from one area to another area, or at that time that independents were taken from in Pakistan shares, all the losses were being deducted from the amount which has to be paid to Pakistan. And in May 1948, Mr. Jinnah took steps to establish the State Bank immediately, because due to this all these situation, due to all these irregularities and all these activities, it was felt that Reserve Bank of India would never work with the betterment of Pakistan economy, and Pakistan has to establish its own central bank if they want to establish and if we want to prosper in the future. So in May 1948, Mr. Muhammad Ali Jinnah took steps to establish State Bank of Pakistan immediately. These were implemented in June 1948, and the State Bank of Pakistan commenced operation on July 1st, 1948. Now, under the State Bank of Order 1948, the State Bank of Pakistan was charged with the duty to regulate and issue. So, under this State Bank of Pakistan Order 1948, the State Bank of Pakistan was charged with the duty to regulate the issue of bank notes. Like, for example, they will regulate all the issuing activities of bank notes, and also they have to keep the reserve with the view to secure monetary stability in Pakistan, which was hardly being this facility was hardly being given by the Reserve Bank of India. So at that point, when Pakistan was a very newborn state, and they had a very bad time due to riots and due to the refugees issue and many other activities. So in that case, the monetary stability was the need of that time. So not only they have to perform and regulate the issuing of banking notes, but also they have to provide the security, stability to the monetary activities within the country, and generally to operate the currency and credit system of the country to its advantage. And also they have to provide the credit facilities and many other currency facilities to the people, because at that time they need this kind of facilities. Credit facilities are also needed in order to regulate or in order to boost the economic growth of the country. They have to provide loans to different business sector and any different other sectors. So the main function they have to perform is that they have to issue and regulate the banking notes. Secondly, they have to provide monetary stability, and they have to operate and strengthen the currency and credit system of the country, and have to because they want to avail the advantages of this system. Then a large section of the state bank duties were widened when the State Bank of Act 1956 was introduced. From time to time, the state bank activities were increased, and its role was being strengthened and increased. So it requires, in 1956, another act was passed, in which it required the state bank to regulate monetary and credit system of Pakistan and to foster its growth in the best national interest, with a view to secure monetary stability and fuller utilization of country's productive resources. So obviously the regulation of monetary and credit policy was their previous objective, and also their objective was to increase or regulate or use the credit system if it's to fuller capacity in order to foster the growth. But also fuller utilization of country productive resources was also added to its function in order to increase different economic activities within the country. In February 1994, the State Bank was given full autonomy during the financial sector reform, because if you look into the previous background and we look into the different areas or into the different working of State Bank, State Bank was previously highly influenced by governments and high officials. So in 1994, the State Bank was given full autonomy, because they want to increase its role and want to increase the government want to get the full benefit of the working of the State Bank. So in that case, at that time in 1994, many financial reforms were passed. So one of the reform of financial reform was also that to give full autonomy to State Bank of Pakistan for the better monetary system and better credit system operating within the country. On January 21, 1997, this autonomy was strengthened when the government issues 3 amendment ordinance. The SBP was in the process of getting a fuller autonomy. So in 1997, different ordinances were passed. Those include SBP Act 1956, Banking Companies Ordinance 1962, and Banks Nationalization Act 1974. In historical preview, we can also see that all these changes, all these acts and all these activities give full authority to SBP in order to regulate the banking sector, the commercial banking sector which is operating within the country, and to conduct an independent monetary policy. And if we see that after every 2 months, they are now giving the increasing, they are giving the interest rate, and many different new policies are given after 2 months, and Also, they have limit the government borrowing because no doubt central bank is or state bank is the banker to the government, but still in order to decrease the influence and in order to decrease the impression or the authorities of the government on the SBP, these act was passed, and according to that they have also limited the government borrowing, because this SBP want to work in full autonomy, and their main emphasis is to provide public benefit and to increase the development of the country. So, if we look into the organization of State Bank of Pakistan, so they have one governor, one deputy governor, then they have central directorate which has 26 department, and they have 5,000 employees. More than that, because this is the previous data, so if we look into the new data, we can see that they have a large base of employees which have economic and financial background. Then the latest governor of SBP is Raza Bakir, and he is the principal officer of SBP, and which is actually the governor. And from 4th May 2019, Raza Bakir is working as the governor of State Bank of Pakistan. If you look into his background, so he is an official, and he had worked for almost 16 years in IMF, International Monetary Fund, and he has also worked at World Bank, MIT, and Union Bank of Switzerland. So he is a capable person to be a State Bank of Pakistan. If we look into the organization of the State Bank of Pakistan, so the State Bank of Pakistan was incorporated under the State Bank of Act 1956, which gives the bank the authority to function as the central bank of the country. The Act mandates the bank to regulate the monetary and credit policy of Pakistan and to foster growth in the best national interests with the view to secure monetary stability and fuller utilization of country's productive resources. This we have already discussed in the previous slides, that because in 1948 the State Bank was established under an ordinance, and after that it was the State Bank of Act 1956 was established, and the main task which was given to State Bank of Pakistan was that they have to regulate all the monetary and the credit policy of the country of Pakistan, and they have also have to foster or have to support all the growth facilities or any activity which can increase the growth of our country, and also they have to facilitate and have to make it sure that all the productive resources of the country are being utilized at its fuller. Now, if we look into the organization structure of State Bank of Pakistan, so they have a wide range of departments which are working in different diverse areas. We can only list. I have only list of few of its 14 departments, so we can see that what the department are and what these departments are doing. Like we have accounts department, and then we have administrative department, we have audit department, agriculture department, banking control department, then agriculture control department, then we have engineering department, exchange control department, legal division, public relation department, research department, security department, and statistical and training department. So every department has its own activities, and they provide different facilities according to their assigned task. If we look into the administrative organization, in order to run and monitor the activities of central bank, the central bank the whole is actually divided into three parts. The one is a central board of directors, and on the organization hierarchy, this central board of directors is the highest level of the management who are working in the central bank. Then we have central directors. This is the central directors are the middle level management level, which can link the central board of director with the field officers. At the lower level of management, we have field officers, which are actually operating at the lower level managers who are operating within the SPP department.